Oh, refreshing fixed it. I love that we're getting a cinematic.
اي محمد، باث اوف اكزال 2 جايه ديسمبر ان شاء الله. دي بس اناونسمنت. اللعبه دي هتغير شكل عالم الاي ار بي جيز.
Oh shit. This is like actual Blizzard level.
باث اوف اكزال 2 مستنيها بقالي سنه ونص. مستني جيم انا بقالي سنه ونص. حد يتخيل؟ انا مش قادر. خلاص اسبوعين. النهارده اناونسمنت. امبارح عملوا اناونسمنت عليها بس ما كنت تعبان وكنتش قادر اتفرج، كنت عايز اتمرن تكن. فدي اللي هنختم بيها الايام ان شاء الله بعد التكن. بعد التكن وارهاق تكن الواحد يقضي بقى امسيه سعيده. اللي ما لعبش ديابلو شباب قبل كده، او ما لعبش باث اوف اكزايل، او ما لعبش اي ار بي جيز حاجات زي كده، لا بجد اتفرج على الاناونسمنت ده. انا ما اعرفش هو قد ايه، ومش انا بس عايز اتفرج على الهايلايتس. بس شوف الجيم دي. This is something different والله. This is something different. يعني انا بالنسبه لي هتكمل لي الجيمنج اكسبيرينس مع تيكن. نلعب تيكن ويبقى دي المكمل، اللي هي الحاجه اللي انت بتحسها ناقصه في الجيمنج عندك دي.
Is that an orb?
هل الصوت واضح بتاع الجيم؟ هل الصوت واضح ولا اعليه شويه ولا اخليه زي ما هو؟ عايز اتشيك. شوف لو حد معايا على الستريم يقول لي يا شباب بليز. محمد كويس. تسلم يا محمد والله.
From POE1, I bet you.
Get the body. Stop. Mortal. It can still be contained.
شكرا يا آية. انا مش عارف بقول اسمك صح ولا لا، بس آية. آية المفروض انا بقول آية.
But you will watch as we destroy everything you have built. Find him.
I think the ghost is the good guy.
Feed. Grow, my child.
It is totally the beast.
I'll make sure you can eat your fill.
It's totally the beast. It's totally the beast. I don't think it's a shaper, I think it's Sin. Straight out of Gladiator. That's totally the beast. Oh my god.
2 is coming. اسبوعين.
Hi.
اهلا بيك جيم دايركتور. اهلا بيك جوناثان. بتفرج عليه بقالي سنه ونص.
Now Path of Exile 2 is going into early access in around 2 weeks on December the 6th. But even though it's early access, this isn't just some small taste. The game is huge.
It is
in this
huge.
live stream we're going to be introducing everything you can expect. So without further ado, let's roll the gameplay trailer.
Existence is a thing of beauty, precious, but
يا رب يشرحوا بس الميكانيكس وكل حاجه في الاناونسمنت ده، عشان انا فعلا عايز اعرف كل حاجه دلوقتي.
mortal enemies. And yet,
سنه ونص يا جماعه مستني جيم. تخيل انا عمري ما استنيت حاجه في حياتي كده. سنه ونص.
continuation of life must be protected at all costs. Some have Enough said. My methods are brutal.
My God, man, this is
To these,
so dark.
I say,
This is so dark.
there can be no
عليكم
salvation
السلام.
without sacrifice.
Sacrifice. الميرشنري
I think it's the
اول كلاس هلعب بيه. مش ده، لا ده ده الرينجر اعتقد. مش رينجر، ده الروج. ده الويتش كلاس.
So what story on me? Did it say?
Holy
DLC
skills
goes hard.
tree.
Holy fuck.
اكبر من باث اوف اكزايل 1.
Was that us? The vampire thing?
ده الويتش كلاس. ده الوريور كلاس اعتقد. ده الروج. ده الشاولين اعتقد برضو. انا متابع الابديتس بتاعت الجيم وكل حاجه، فعارف الكلاسز نوعا ما.
Wow.
بس هبدأ بكلاس الميرسيناري. الأسلحة اللي معاها عاملة زي كأنها مصممينها كأنها شوت جان، ماشين جان، حاجات كده. يا رب يعملوا بريف سريع عليه.
Oh. Look at those maps.
ده الميرسيناري.
Look at the
Ooh.
bosses. I could cry.
Those who obsess with death, let them soon be acquainted with it.
What is this?
Now, as you just saw, even in early access, Path of Exile 2 is a big game. It's actually been 5 years since we announced POE2. And over that time, we've revealed a lot, but it's been in bits and pieces. It's pretty hard to keep track of it all. So today we're going to do a full rundown of all the content that will be available at the start of early access.
Nice.
Classes, character
نعمله full
progression
rundown.
systems, and for
Full
the first
rundown
time,
على الجيم.
a full overview of the Endgame.
Full
This is gonna be a big one, so get
rundown.
comfortable.
I'm
For 20
comfortable.
years, Rayclast has been free from any sources of corruption. But the Count of Ogham, tempted by promises of power, intends to harness it once more. The dead are rising, monsters are mutating, and madness is spreading. Under the dark influence of corruption, the Count doles out sentences of death to any who would question him.
Nice.
It's where you find yourself at the start of POE2. Explore the dark forests of Ogham, traverse the
Unlucky.
barren plains of the Vasteri Desert, and delve
leave
into
it
the
from
jungle
here.
ruins of Utsal, an ancient Val city.
If your walls are looking a bit plain and you want to spice it up, and maybe you like my background with
يا
display,
عمي سيبنا
you can get
نتفرج
your own
please.
display, and this Friday.
Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat and has mechanics that involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in POE2,
That bell is
you'll
really
want to
cool.
use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos. To get new skills, you will first need to find skill gems. Using a skill gem will
بتبني
open the
build.
gem cutting
بتعمل
menu,
build.
which shows all the active skills available in POE2.
Energy shield is really
You
cool.
can choose an existing skill to level up, or choose to engrave a new one. Since this is a level 7 skill gem, even if you pick a new skill, it will immediately be level 7, so there's no harm in trying out something new.
That's awesome. That's
The
such a good way
monk
to do it.
primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts: lightning, ice,
I'll be here, I guess.
اوكي المارشال ارتس عنده لايتنج
I think
وشاونينج
you have to
وويند.
stick to
اوكي
just one. The best combos are going to involve mixing elements
واو
of all
تقدر
3.
تميكس.
Let's try
Interesting.
killing Palm. Like many monk skills, this can be used to quickly take advantage of a specific situation. If there's an enemy on low life,
It looks
you can use
faster
killing
now.
Palm to dash to
They're
them
like
and kill them
one-shotting shit.
instantly. This
ايه
will
لا
provide
نفس
a power
السولز
charge.
او رينج لا ما
Then
تنفعش.
use
نظام
different
الالعاب الاي
skills
ار
to
بي جي ما
consume that
ينفعش
power
زي
charge for a
يبقى
much more
ما ينفعش دي
devastating
تبقى
attack.
زي إلدن رينج.
The monk also has powerful combo skills. Tempest Bell, for example, is a skill that places a giant resonating bell. Hitting the bell causes it to ring, dealing damage to all enemies around it. You can
That's
also
really
do
cool.
things like freeze or shock the bell, which will add elemental damage to the strikes.
ومخلينه شاولين
The
شاولين
monk
يعني.
also has a variety of abilities to empower his staff.
do that
If an
already.
enemy is close to being stunned, you can use staggering palm to
انا عايز
push them
اجري
down.
عشان اشوف الميرسناري
After that, any
الكلاس
attack you
بس
do will
خلينا
shoot out
خلينا
poison
صبورين
missiles.
يعني خلينا صبرنا سنه ونص على الحاجات دي
There are 21 active
اصبر
skills for
نشوف
quarter
كله.
staves.
Oh, look
So
at
this
that
just
clear
scratches the
speed.
surface of the options that you
الصبر
have.
الصبر
By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to
Oh,
pack.
that is a nice middle
spewing
ground.
projectiles,
الكلاسز كلها
obliterating
هتتلعب
strings
بلا
of enemies
استثناء
with
بس في
huge combo
ترتيب يعني
attacks.
في مبدئيا
Oh,
كده
that's
في
so much
ترتيب من
better.
الاول.
Now, if you like a style of melee that's a little slower but hits much harder, then the warrior is for you. He pounds
Warrior.
the ground with big chunky attacks and can shrug
Warrior
off
ده
hits of
زي
small enemies with large amounts of armor. Even though the mace slams are slow, you never lose control. Longer attacks
زي
can
البربريان في
retarget as you
ديابلو.
go. And if you find yourself committed to a long attack, you can dodge roll out of it at any time.
Wow.
Very smooth.
Wow.
Among the skill option for maces, you will find a
واللعبة
variety of
مصممينها هم
slams,
على اساس
fire
انها
attacks,
تبقى
war cries, and
بالكنترولر
shield
مش
skills.
للبي سي
Here, I'm
وال
going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava. I can even run through them with a skill like Stampede to do huge amounts of damage. The warrior can also use war cries, which can empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double any slams from your next attack. The Stampede counts as a slam, so I can double that for even more craziness. If you want to go a little faster and be a little more defensive, equip a shield. In POE2, you can raise your shield at any time
You have
to
a
block
shield.
all damage from the front, even spells.
Wow.
While holding up your shield, your stun meter will build as you take damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break.
واو
and
الشيلد
you'll be
الشيلد بياخد من
Oh,
الاندورنس.
wow.
Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which
Okay.
are indicated by this red flash. If you see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way.
I'm gonna
You're
have a rip
joking,
clip like
man.
that. I can feel it.
Using a shield also gives you access to
No, I
shield
thought I
skills
could
like
block
Shield
it.
Charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun them.
Oh, that looks sick.
While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front. The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities, like
That's so
Shockwave
sick.
Totem, which can be placed to stun nearby enemies and trigger aftershocks like those from the earthquake.
Wow.
But you can also get Ancestral Warrior Totems, which allow you to use any slam skill in your repertoire.
Wow.
This is a meta skill, which means that it's a skill you can put other skills into. I can take a slam like Sunder and socket it
Can you
into my
multiple?
Ancestral Warrior Totem. Now when I summon him, he'll sit there and slam the monsters from a distance.
تقدر تسمن تقدر تسمن انسيسترز تقدر تسمن حاجات
But by
تلعب معاك.
endgame, you're going to be dropping hammers from the sky, leaping fearlessly into combat, and separating the very earth you stand on.
Oh, that looks so sick.
الواحد يجيب وقت منين يا جماعه يلعب تيكن ويلعب دي ويعني نجيب
Ranger
وقت
is
منين
primarily
احنا
about the
يعني.
bow, but we wanted to
I'm
make sure that she
totem
feels
a
agile as well. In POE2, you can shoot while moving. Combined with all the skills the ranger has that allow you to jump around,
لا
you'll have a
تيكن
lot of
مكفيها
mobility
4
in
6
combat.
ساعات ولا دي هيكفيها 4 6 ساعات في اليوم.
Bow skills have a variety of lightning, poison, ice, and physical attacks. Lightning
خلاص،
attacks
احنا
bounce
كده
around between
بدأنا.
targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground which explode when hit by the bouncers, or electrocute enemies to take them out of combat.
You see damage numbers
Ice
too.
attacks allow you to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you.
ده كلاس الروج.
Using poison, not only can you slowly damage your enemies from afar, but also grow some interesting plants.
That's the ability I was using.
With 21 bow skills and
Dense.
all the mobility and combo tools the ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation. By
this
endgame,
is
you'll be
so
creating
good.
hundreds of arrows, be they falling from
لا
the sky,
البيلد فيها
bouncing
ملوش
around
حدود
between
فعلا.
enemies,
انا
or
مستني
spraying
اعرف
out with
النظام
tornadoes.
البيلد عامل ازاي. انا سمعت قبل كده ان مفيش يعني مفيش ليميتيشن تقدر تعمل تخترع بيلد محدش عمله قبل كده يعني الكرياتيفيتي فيها رهيب.
Life flask slot and one mana flask slot. Flasks gain charges as you kill enemies.
This is my
and
favorite
typically
class
allow you
كان
to
في
heal
ديابلو
6 or 7
الباث اوف
times
اكزايل
when
وكده
full.
الروج.
But that's not the only thing
بس
you can
في
use
كلاس
charges
جديد
for.
بقى ده اللي انا عايز اشوفه اعتقد
Charms
اللي
are a
جاي.
new item type that will automatically defend you from various debuffs or damage types.
ده الشاولن.
Having trouble with getting frozen? Equip a thawing charm.
Oh, this
When
is
it's
so
fully
much better.
charged, it will make you immune to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge
Okay.
them, just kill more monsters.
Oh, interesting.
You can gain more slots for charms by upgrading your belt.
Interesting.
The Mercenary wields a
Mercenary!
crossbow that can be loaded with different ammo types, offering versatility, power, and mobility.
Wait.
All classes in Path of Exile 2 can be controlled with WASD, which makes this class play exactly like a shooter. For the crossbow,
This
you
clear
will
spin
find
looks
skills
so
that look like
much better,
shotguns,
DDD.
sniper rifles, assault rifles, and even grenade launchers.
عاملين الكروس بو نظام
wide
سنايبر
variety of
رايفل
interesting
اسولت
elemental
رايفل
ammos too.
شوت جان
It's very fast
grenade
to switch between
launcher.
ammo types, so long as you already have them loaded.
That move,
which makes the
though.
mercenary able to combo abilities together for devastating effect.
Oh, that looks sick. I love
Use
railgun.
glacial bolt to create walls of ice to separate enemies, then switch to fragmentation rounds to explode the ice, dealing massive AoE damage. If I come across an armored enemy, I could use armor piercing rounds to break their armor, and then high velocity rounds to take them down. Or perhaps I could fire a gas grenade to poison enemies before detonating the cloud with an explosive shot for massive
رهيب
damage.
نظام ان الكروس بو يعمل
Oh, that is so cool. That looks so
If
sick.
you want to call in some suppressing fire, you can summon artillery.
This is
bolts.
my
These have a
starting
minimum
class.
range, so you'll want to prepare your position carefully before moving in. There are 22 active skills for crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you litter the battlefield with grenades and pepper your enemies with your automatic shotgun.
Oh, this looks so much better.
If you're looking to take a back seat and let your minions do the work, then the witch should be your choice.
Necromancer
She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to
Yeah,
fight
he's
for her.
cooming
while
right
ده اللي
casting powerful
بيستخدم
chaos spells to
Army of the
debilitate
Dead
your enemies.
الكلاس ده.
Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game. with
Not my
skeletons,
favorite
not
type
just
لان انا
spells,
بحب
melee
اتفاعل
minions,
مع اللعبة
curses,
يعني
and
دي نظام
sacrifices.
انك تمشي ومعاك جيش اموات وتطلع مش عارف هياكل عظمية تحارب معاك and you can stand aside وهم يلعبوا يعني
which allows you to pick from a range of persistent
بس هيتلعب
skills.
برضه يعني.
All classes have a variety of these skills which can add some very interesting effects,
Are
like
they locked?
Arctic Armor which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire spell. For the Witch though, we'll want to be using our spirit to create permanent minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die, so you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the
Yeah, I
time.
think so, but...
Here I'm using the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde.
This is such a
You can
good way
see
of
the
doing
spirit
it.
cost of each one. Skeletal warriors are cheap but weak, useful for tanking damage and distracting enemies. But I want more heavy hitters in my army, so I'm going to unsummon some warriors and instead add skeletal arsonists. Permanent minions come with special active abilities called command skills. You can order these guys to detonate your own minions for
That
even
looks
more
so
damage
good,
and
dude.
area of effect. If you want a bigger army, you'll need a scepter. This new weapon type is imbued with even more spirit, allowing you to summon even more friends.
16%.
And if you want an even bigger army than that,
Wonder
you
if
can
there's
take
flat
advantage
spirit.
of corpses to summon true hordes of minions. But what can a witch do while her army is at work? Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease amongst your enemies, or bone skills to impale them. Or, you know, you could curse them to make them weaker so your horde can take them down.
BD Contagion!
There are 25 active occult skills. By the endgame, you'll be the leader of a fearsome army of the dead, consuming
Yeah, this is
everything
gonna
in
be
its
free
path.
at launch, isn't that crazy? What the fuck? That's so fucked.
The Sorceress bends the elements to her will, using them to unleash devastation on her foes. This classic spellcaster weaves a flurry of elemental magic from afar. The elemental skills have everything you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea. Each spell is unique and has many different ways to build and combo with others, even between different elements.
My god, Spark
For
looks
example,
amazing.
Flame Wall conjures a burning line that not only damages enemies, but also empowers all projectiles that pass through it.
Don't
If you
stop.
place a wall and fire lightning sparks through it, they'll gain extra fire damage. It's a good idea to take advantage of the ability to automatically swap weapons when you use certain skills.
I love that.
Having a special staff with bonuses to fire skills and another with bonuses to lightning skills can really power up a combo like this. The Sorceress can also take advantage of powerful trigger gems. For example, you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner. When it's full, a Firestorm will automatically be cast to the enemy that was ignited.
Oh, that looks nice.
There are 25 active elemental skills. By endgame, you'll be firing off projectiles left and right as you
Look at
rain
that.
down
Oh.
elemental storms on your
Oh
foes.
my god.
Now, those are the characters that will be available at the start of early access, but we will be adding 6 more character classes with just as many skills and
Oh, we have
options
a
as
golden
these.
Kappa train. That's
There's a
fucked.
lot more to come.
How did that happen?
There's one more important thing to mention about skills.
غيروا شكل ال ARPG
in reality, there
خلاص.
are no restrictions.
This is the new
Use all these
ARPGs.
skills on any
How
class
do we
so
get
long as you
that?
have the attributes.
Nobody can make less than this.
For
خلاص.
example, a
Standardized.
poison ranger might want to try out
Standardized.
using occult curses to increase her poison damage. Or a monk might want to trigger elemental ice walls to use with his glacial cascade
Brandon?
combo. The possibilities
you.
for cross-class combos are practically unlimited.
I'm trying
We're
to
looking
react,
forward
but
to what
thank you
kind
for
of
the
things you
subs.
guys might find. Now, Path of Exile is a game known for build customization, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what is possible yet.
Oh, this looks so good,
So
dude.
let's talk about support gems.
Thank you so much
Path of
for the subs
Exile 2
for
has
the
a
golden
system of
Captain.
support gems that can be combined with your active skills to dramatically change the way they work. If you find a support
so
gem,
cool.
then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can pick between. For example, this is a multiple projectiles support gem and can be used to add multiple projectiles to any skill. Normally when you fire a grenade it'll look like this. But if we add multiple projectiles, then you get 3 of them. Once you have the gem, you can also freely move it between any of the skills on your character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high velocity round skill. Generally speaking, if it sounds like a support gem should work with a skill, then it will work. So it's a good idea to experiment.
Nice.
Note that you can only have one of each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which
I don't
supports
know how I
can be
feel
used
about
best
that.
with each skill
I'm
for
open,
maximum
but-
damage. Now, if you want to stick to the
lets them
recommendations,
have more
you should
power
have a
in it.
perfectly good time. But if you want to experiment a bit more, then
Jury's
uncheck
still
that
out on that
recommended
one.
button and you can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill.
That is cool.
There are hundreds of support gems to choose from, and even we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact. Each skill can have up to 5 supports socketed into it, and if you're clever you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas. Now all of this is just scratching the surface.
Oh, if we're
you can
clever,
make frost
I'm out.
vortexes, break people's armor, make minions explode, make skills repeat,
God, this looks so good.
make enemies set each other on fire, cull enemies, or pin them to the ground. Supports let you drastically change the behavior of your skills and create your own unique build, or at least follow someone's OP build guide. So, speaking of builds, let's talk about one of the most iconic Path of Exile systems, the passive skill tree. Yes, it's huge. There are over 1,500 nodes on there. Now a lot of people open the tree
1,500?
and can get a little intimidated
1500 ايه 1500
at first.
سكيل على
Try not to be
السكيل تري.
scared. There are lots of options, but at its core, it's pretty simple. Each level you get one
عملوا
point
لعبة ما
put into the
بتخلصش.
tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all
That
share the
level up
same
sounds
tree.
nice.
Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here.
Where's
Almost
Zion?
all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way. But if you do happen to make a choice you regret, you'll be able to
I knew
respec
the
any
hooded
nodes
one
you've
was
taken by
not
spending a little
evil.
bit of gold. Now, the tree is generally divided up into clusters which have similar themes. In each cluster
wish
you
they
will find
didn't remove
small nodes that
masteries.
give simple bonuses
really like that
increased
idea.
damage, but the real power comes from notables. Notables normally have much more interesting bonuses, and they tend to care a lot more about how your build works and what skills you're using. For example, in the Mercenary area of the tree, this one gives a 25% chance for crossbow skills to not consume a bolt. And here's one that gives grenades a chance to blow up a second time.
That's cool.
This one gives a chance for projectiles to rebound off terrain, as well as giving you some pierce chance to make that more likely.
That's cool.
Note that even though this is in the Mercenary section, this would work with projectiles from all classes, so there are often reasons to go to different areas of the tree. In order to get between these clusters, you will generally have to allocate nodes in the attribute highways. Attribute nodes allow you to pick which attribute you would like to use,
Grab
so
it
it's
on the
very
highway,
easy to get
chat.
points for any attribute that your gear might need. You can change which attribute these nodes give you for half price at the respec vendor.
Nice.
In addition to notables, you will also find
Respec
even
vendor
larger
for gold
passives called
confirmed.
keystones. Keystones have both an upside and a downside, and often require changing your entire build to design around them. A great example is Giant's Blood, which allows you to wield two-hand weapons in a single hand, but doubles the attribute requirements of them. You can use a two-hand mace with a shield, or even dual wield them.
What? Barbarian? Oh, that looks
Or
cool.
how about Mind Over Matter, which makes all damage go to your mana pool first before
Oh.
your life pool, but
Oh.
you lose 50% of your mana regen. Skills like these can be tough to build
Wow.
around, but if you're up for the challenge, they can be very rewarding. As we showed you earlier on the
That's so
Sorceress,
cool.
you can swap between weapon sets on the fly as you use certain skills. One of the new features in Path of Exile 2's passive tree is that you can choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon
love
sets
that.
to take
I'm such a
advantage
fan
of
of that.
specific bonuses on the tree. For the Sorceress, you might want to change between fire and lightning specialization. Or you could switch between one-hand and a two-hand setup in order to be able to block boss attacks while following up with heavy hits from your bigger mace.
I love that. That's so
Or perhaps
cool.
you could have a full curse setup on your witch to debuff enemies before switching to a chaos degen build for maximum damage.
I wonder how that'll affect active summons. Also,
If
thank
you
you
want
guys
to
so
stick with
much for
just
all the
one
subs
weapon
for the
set,
golden kappa.
you can just use these specialization points as bonus points to invest
That's
however
insane.
you like. But creative players will find plenty of opportunities with this system. You can get weapon specialization points throughout the campaign from optional bosses and quests. For example, if I manage to defeat the Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book.
Oh,
There are lots of other permanent boosts available from the campaign too. On the map
That
you can see
screen looks
icons that
sick.
indicate the many optional encounters you can find. Some of them have permanent character boosts, and others have powerful items. If you're having trouble getting past a boss, it might be a good idea to explore and see what you can find. For example, if you defeat Blackjaw the Remnant, you'll gain a permanent increase to fire resistance. One
Okay.
of the most important finds are spirit bonuses. You can find the first one here in the canopy in Act 1. Defeat the boss in this area to acquire a permanent addition of spirit. The permanent buffs you
Very
gain from
cool.
spirit are very powerful, and every class will find a use for them, so make sure you hunt down these
Interact to view
upgrades.
favors.
There's one in each act. Now we haven't even talked about the most important element of character progression, items. That's why we're all here, right?
tell me more. Yes.
Items in Path of Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique. One of the things you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with 1 mod. You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a second mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a third mod, and upgrade it to a rare. Finally, you can use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total of 6 mods. One of the things we think is really
And then you
important
have to
is to
start
make these
over on a new
options
item.
available to use as you play. All the items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1, so that you can use them throughout your campaign playthrough. We want you to find things on the ground that can be crafted into upgrades much more frequently.
Okay.
As well as making the drop rates on these items much more common, you can also get them by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item vendor. If you disenchant magic items, you can build up to an Orb of Transmutation, and by disenchanting rares, you can build up
Okay.
to Regal Orbs. Another important area of crafting items in POE2 is sockets. Some items you find will have sockets that can have Ezomite runes placed in them that add more mods to the item. If I insert this Glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance. This is a great way to solve problems that you have with your build, like
Gems?
resistances or damage. If you find socketed
Huh?
items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to the salvage bench
Please
in
do
town
rune
to work
words.
towards an artificer's orb.
Do it.
This will allow you to add sockets to your existing items. Body armors and two-hand weapons can have up to 2 sockets, while the rest of your armor and one-hand weapons can only have 1 socket. You can also salvage items with quality to create items like armor scraps or whetstones. These will allow you to increase the quality of your items for an up to 20% boost.
I'm so ready for
If you
this.
don't want to disenchant or salvage your items, you can always sell them for gold. Gold can be used to buy items from vendors, and we've tried to do a lot to make sure that the items they have for sale are actually useful. Every time you level up, they get more stock, so make sure to check back often.
Where's
Other
my
vendors
wallet?
offer a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random item of a specific type.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a great way to improve your gear, if you're lucky. Gold is also used to respec your passive skills. Take advantage of this system to experiment with your tree and rework it as required. The other thing you might want to use gold for is the currency exchange. This allows you to exchange currency items with other players on
Okay,
an open
no
market.
full-blown auction
in
house,
exchange
but
for
we
a
are getting
small
currency
gold fee.
exchange.
Now, all items in Path of Exile are freely tradable. We never bind anything to your character, except gold.
We never bind anything to your character. Oh my god man. يعني تقدر تتريد اي حاجة معاك مع اي بلاير تاني، اي سلاح معاك، اي جيم، اي حاجة تقدر تديها لاي لاعب تاني عن طريق التريد. This is crazy man.
I love that
Now,
gold.
most
is
gear in
bound.
Path of Exile 2 is randomly generated, but there's another type that isn't. Uniques. They are especially rare, each with a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can
حبيبي لا انا
dramatically
هعمله
change characters'
كونتنت، هعمله كونتنت
They're
وانزله،
not
ممكن
just a
تبقى
bit of
تتفرج
rare
عليه
items.
تكمله لو انت
They can do
مهتم
much
بالجيم
stranger
يعني.
things that can fundamentally change your character.
توفيق يا صديقي.
Corpse Wade will make any corpses you run through explode into clouds of poison.
Wow.
The Sands of Silk is a body armor that changes your dodge roll into a blink, morphing you into sand as you teleport past your foes.
Wow.
And of course, some uniques are just pure hits of dopamine, like Quill Rain, which just turns your bow attacks into full auto by doubling your attack speed.
Nice.
Each unique is something that you can build your character around. We try to make sure that most unique items have a potential use at endgame, even if you find them early on.
Wow.
And as you can see, every single unique item comes with custom art to match.
That is so sick. Holy
The
fuck,
last
dude.
character progression system that you can do during the campaign is Ascension. Starting in Act 2, you will come across Ascension trials, tests that you must complete to unlock your Ascension class.
Okay.
We'll explain these trials soon, but first let's take a look at what Ascending can do for your character. Each class has access to 3 Ascendancy classes,
Goodbye, lab.
but at the start of early access, only 2 per class will be available.
Okay.
Ascendancy classes are unique to each character class, so choose wisely. They can drastically affect how you build your character.
Okay.
As a sorceress, you could become a storm weaver, a master of the elements. Tempest Caller
God, that
causes
is good.
elemental storms to be summoned each time you do a
Frozen
critical hit
orb!
with a spell. With Strike twice, you can stack 2 copies of Shock for more damage. And going deeper into the tree, you can make all your damage types apply Shock.
Wow.
Make a Shock build from any skill. Alternatively, you could become a Chronomancer and command time itself. She literally has the ability to stop time with Time Freeze. Not only that, but she has many other time manipulation abilities. Using Temporal Rift, she can teleport back to a previous location,
What the
resetting her
fuck?
life and mana back to what it was. Or with Time
I'm done.
Snap, she can
I'm
reset all
over.
her cooldowns and cast all her spells
Wow.
again.
Wow. بجد واو.
On the Warrior, you can choose
That
between the
was
Warbringer
so
or the
sick.
Titan. The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using Answered Call, you can summon ancestral spirits linked to each of your totems. With Jade Heritage, you can encase your body in a protective layer that absorbs all damage until it breaks. Warcaller's Bellow allows you to explode the corpses of your enemies. And with Great Wolf's Howl, you can ignore the cooldowns of your war cries. Let all that anger out.
Wow.
The Titan class is all about hitting big. With Earthbreaker, every slam is a chance to create an aftershock. With Crushing Impacts, every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease. With Surprising Strength, you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage. As a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an
That's so
expert
cool.
markswoman who can take down foes with
Oh
style.
my god.
With endless munitions, every attack gains an extra
That
projectile.
looks so much better than anything they've shown so far.
With Gathering Winds, she gains a small increase to movement speed with every attack. But be careful, she loses them when getting hit. With Eagle Eyes, she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on accuracy.
Ooh.
Alternatively, you could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison. She can choose from one of several throwable concoctions, allowing her to spend her flask charges to throw explosive bottles that deal various types of damage. A bleeding concoction will make your enemies bleed, while a fulminating one can shock your enemies, allowing you to do extra damage.
Extra damage. Okay.
Contagious Contamination allows her to spread poisons between her foes, while overwhelming toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by.
So cool.
Running Assault allows her to move much more quickly while firing, while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies. The Witch can ascend into the Infernalist or the Blood Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage if the Infernalist gets hit. With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame. As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take damage. Using Bringer of Flame, you'll want to make sure you keep the flames topped up. While your Infernal Flame is above 30%, all damage from you and your minions will ignite enemies.
Wow.
She can also transform into a literal demon.
Woo.
While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage, but her cast speed and damage increase rapidly as well. So if you're planning on transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery.
I'm playing this. I'm playing this.
She can also become a Blood Mage,
I'm
a
playing
master
this.
of life and energy. All
ده
Blood
هتبقى
Mages must pay the price for
second
making skills
class
that
اللي
cost
هنلعب
life
إن
as
شاء
well as
الله.
mana. But in exchange, every monster they kill will drop life remnants, which allow them to quickly gain back that life. With Crimson
Look at that
Power, she
bone
can gain large
spear.
amounts of extra life, and with Vitality Siphon, she can use her spells to leech life back as well.
Oh my fucking
Once you've got a
god.
significant amount of life, you can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits deal incredible amounts of damage. A monk who is in tune with the elements might become an Invoker. With elemental expression, the invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With faith as a choice, you gain the
just
ability to
excited about the
meditate,
clear
allowing you to
speed.
double your energy shield. Choose between I am the blizzard or I am the thunder to specialize in cold or lightning.
It looks
And
so
I shall
much fun.
rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar.
They did
Each time
so
you apply
well.
a status ailment to an enemy, you gain unbound fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more
I want to play
elemental
it all.
ailments. Some monks choose to reach into the darkness instead. The Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and
What?
deal damage. The Shroud of Darkness will protect you from all damage incoming, but if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have. Their Dark Pact offers greatly increased resistances to chaos damage and can allow their mana leech to not only happen instantly, but apply to their energy shield as well.
Huh.
Another node you can take is Waking Dream,
Sounds
which
like
allows
me.
you to see into the domain of the Breach Demons. There you will see the Flames of Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage. The Mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits
حبيبي
you?
ده.
You might choose to become a Witch Hunter.
Physics, wait, there's more.
Obsessive Rituals will give you a sorcery ward, allowing you to defend yourself against elemental hits in exchange for less defense against attacks. With Zealous Inquisition, your enemies have a 10% chance to explode on death. The chance is doubled against demons and undead. With Judge, Jury, and Executioner, your initial hit against enemies can deal up to 30% of their life and damage, if you're lucky. This is great for hunting powerful bosses. And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do.
Wow.
You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly in your flesh. Integrated Efficiency will give you extra skill slots. Thermatological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you socket more and more support gems.
Did they just make the best
Adaptive capability
ever
allows you to
class
use
in
any color of
ARPG
gem
games?
without worrying about attributes. While Crystalline Potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into your character.
يا جماعة ده.
So those are the Ascendancy classes for the start of early
Cool.
access.
I hope to
But
have
one
a
thing we
visual
haven't talked about
component
yet
for
is
this
how you ascend in the first
Ascendancy.
place. Ascension in Path of Exile 2 requires completion of one of the Great Trials, which you'll find as you progress through the campaign. Each one is associated with one of the major cultures of Rayclast. Located in the Vasteri Plains are the Maraketh, a culture of rich tales and brutal traditions, who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Maraketh culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely. All aspirants must complete the Trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength,
Doesn't it?
will, cunning, and patience. To enter, a warrior of the Maraketh must prove their worth by trapping
This
the
might
soul
be
of
the
a
best
djinn
game
in a
announcement
coin,
of all time.
and you are no different. Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed in the relic altar to begin the trial.
Sanctum.
In the Trial of the Sekimas, each room has its own challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the room. Once the chalice is filled, you will be able to proceed.
Okay.
While fighting monsters in the
crazy.
trial, you will need to be very careful. Each hit will not only hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters are well telegraphed,
I don't
so that you
think
can
so.
avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial and need to find another coin in order to try
That
again.
is literally
It
Sanctum.
is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the Trial of the Sekimas.
I like it, I love it.
After each room, you will be rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you wish to proceed. Which challenges would you like to face, and which rewards do you want to claim? Some rooms are
I do
more
think this will
dangerous,
tilt some people,
afflicting you
though.
with
I
debuffs that will
love it.
persist for the entire
I
trial.
love Sanctum.
For example, entering this room will afflict you with Spiked Shell that will cause all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life. You will want to take care if you choose such a path.
But I also
There are
like
many
the
different
original
challenges and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor. As you progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the Jinn, which will help you on your journey. For example, the Sekima's cloak will revive you once if you die, giving you a second shot at a run.
Where there is a golden
One of the
door.
rewards you may find is Sacred Water, an extremely valuable and treasured resource to the Jinn and the Maraketh. Trading it with the Jinn will allow you to receive many benefits. You can recover honor, gain additional boons, or remove afflictions. At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will truly test your limitations. In order to ascend, you will need to defeat him.
Do you think it's like Sanctum where it does
Having
health
defeated
damage
ده
the
and
حتى
boss,
في
the honor, or
البوسز
might just be
والله
the
حتى
honor?
في
First,
ال
the loot.
Might just be the honor.
في المين
Keys you have
fights.
found may be used to open the various treasures in the vault at the end of the floor. We only have a single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys. Let's use the Altar of Ascendancy. Your first ascension will allow you to pick your class and grant
Bonnie?
you 2 points to use in the tree. Now there are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sekimus, but we'll save that for the section on the endgame. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimus is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try another. You can gain all your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a 3rd trial coming later for the full release.
Wow!
While exploring the Vaal
Game of the
jungle,
year.
you'll discover the Temple of
Game
Chaos.
of the year.
Before the
Game of
Vaal
all
embraced
years.
the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was once used by the Vaal to test their high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything to gain power. Entry to the trial requires a token from a strange entity known only as the Trial Master. For those in which he sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum. Many have attempted these trials in search of
shit.
greatness. Most
That
have
is it.
perished. Will you be able to defy the odds?
I don't know.
Before you begin each chamber, the Trial Master will offer you a
he gonna
reward
insult
and a
us?
choice. Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial. These modifiers might beef up the monsters, curse the player, or add environmental hazards like turrets or trap runes. In this case, we will be picking shocking turrets. As you enter the room, the Trial Master will fill it with hazards to test your commitment.
Oh shit.
In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the
So
room,
different.
while dealing with the
Wow.
lightning projectiles from the shocking turrets.
That is way different than what I was expecting. That's so cool. Oh, this is a great alternative.
Oh.
After each room, you will need to make a choice. Take the rewards you have earned so far, or go double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk. Each tribulation you add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming. There are many types of chambers in the trial. Each will test your resolve in different ways. This one simply requires you survive for a certain amount of time. Another requires you to escort the stone idol through the level as elevators full of monsters descend to attack you.
I've never liked an
Should you
escort
be able to
mission
get through
in
the
any
first
game.
3 chambers, you will face your first boss. The order of the bosses is random, and combined with the tribulations you have selected, the fight will never feel the same. After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course there are the items, but you also gain the right to ascend. If you already did the Trial of the Sekimus, then you can claim 2 more points to add to your Ascendancy class.
Oh.
Now it's possible to go much deeper. There are more bosses, rewards, and risks to take, but we'll talk more about that when we get to Endgame. So how about we talk about that now?
Let's
Game
do it.
structure.
I'm ready.
So far, we've only been showing you footage from the campaign.
That's
But
fucking
some
wild.
people would argue that the endgame is where the game truly begins.
I agree.
Something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying, there isn't enough endgame content. Well, we want to make sure that in POE2, people don't feel that way. And we actually only changed our development priority for this recently. The first 3 acts of POE2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new player. This is already a pretty significant campaign. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of hours in endgame each week.
What?
We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on endgame and make that great. For new players, a 25-hour campaign is
Good
already
choice.
a huge game with lots of content. But for existing action RPG players, what you mostly care about is all the in-game challenges to overcome.
Correct.
So several months ago, we switched the entire development team's focus over to making in-game content.
Oh,
At the start of early access, there will be 50 bosses and around 400 monster types. But the great thing is that the rest of the game is like 80% there. We'll be adding content to roughly double the size of the game during early access and into release. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same character level as what it would be after we added the rest of the acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Crawl,
Called it.
where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up. And of course,
Called
new
it.
rewards. You can kind of think of it as like a new game plus. It's also a lot faster to get through the content the second time as your clear speed increases. That will take you to around level 65, where the endgame begins. Once we add the remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing Crawl difficulty, so you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame. But what is the endgame?
What is the
To
end
explain
game?
that, I'll hand over to Mark. He can tell you all
Mark
about it.
also called it.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct in-game
Hi,
content
Mark.
to choose between. Each in-game mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2 we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through. This is the Atlas, and it
Yeah, it
serves as the
is.
core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2.
That's so
It's
fucking
infinite
vast.
and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but
7 is
corruption from
insane.
the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is
The
to
beast!
help fight it.
The beast!
In
I
the center of the
fucking knew
Atlas,
it.
you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in
Fucking
which
called
the
that
Val
too.
research the fundamentals of
I'm
space
calling
and
it
time.
all.
Here, we can open portals to nearby
Infinite? Did you say
locations
infinite?
and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face. To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse.
Okay.
Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have
Oh, that's
selected.
fucking sick.
All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign, and we have dialed the randomization up to 11. The monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations.
We're
There are
gonna
over
die.
400 monster types in early access,
Look at
and
the
they have
clear
a lot of varied and
speed.
interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges. In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will
I'm
need to
playing
defeat
that.
all
I'm
the powerful
100%
rare
playing this.
and unique enemies in it.
Oh.
Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world. If you die, then the map can no longer be run, and you will have to find another way around to get to the areas behind it. There are also all kinds of
Wow.
other random encounters you might run into as you play maps. One such encounter are precursor artifacts. These are ancient,
That's so
corrupting
cool.
monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters
Can you
and
break
cleanse
your
the
atlas?
artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also find strong boxes. These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open it, and the boxes often have mechanisms to unleash powerful spells or dangerous debuffs.
That's $20.
There are different types of strong boxes containing different items, and you can even use your currency items to craft them on the fly, so you can optimize the contents.
Okay,
But be careful
that's
of
a bit
opening one you
slow.
can't handle.
That better be worth it.
Sometimes you'll discover monsters frozen in essences, solidified crystalline corruption. These dangerous monsters can be broken free. If you defeat them, the essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to magic items with a guaranteed mod from a category.
Essences are back.
For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod.
35.
Rarely, essences will also drop that allow you to upgrade magics to rares, adding the guaranteed mod.
Ah. Cool. Like a regal essence. That's awesome.
This is incredibly powerful since it allows you to get a second
way
deterministic
better.
mod in
This
your
is way
crafting
better.
projects.
It's huge.
Combining these with the currencies that are commonly found in Rayclast for modifying items.
Oh my
And
god.
we can get a very nice pair of boots indeed.
Wow.
Waystones, like all items, can also be
We have
crafted
deterministic
using your
crafting.
currency items. Adding prefix mods will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The more dangerous a map is,
Cool.
the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to higher tiers.
دي انا مش فاهمها دي. Areas contains 3 additional packs with mirrored rare monster. Okay. Twisted about 1% increased experience gain, 20% pack size. Players are of course within the.
And sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open. Make sure you explore and think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item
Oh, I
drops.
love those explosions.
As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different biomes, from snow-capped mountains to
so
dense
cool.
jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclast and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts
How
that
is
give an
this game
extreme
accessible
amount of
for free?
experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find
Yay!
special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp.
Retired.
Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations. A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking. Some sections of your Atlas are influenced by
Yeah, let's see if I
corruption.
got that.
This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close proximity to each other will cause the vestiges of corruption
Oh,
within
shit,
them to
beyond
merge
confirmed.
together, forming powerful and grotesque abominations. You may have noticed while looking at the Atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding.
There's not
These
a
bosses
boss in
come
every
from the
map. That's
campaign, but have
amazing.
had their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points
Wow.
here will allow you to specialize in boss killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them.
ايه يا جماعه ايه
Each
الجمال
different
ده؟
type of content in the endgame,
إيه
we are adding
الأطلس ده؟
specialized trees in order to make it so you don't
so
feel the
cool.
need to respec your points when you change between different types of content. We
Wow.
will be showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come.
My
Bosses are not
palms
the
are
only
sweaty.
icon you will see on the
اللعبة دي
Atlas.
هتفجر
Let's
الإنترنت.
take a look at one of the endgame systems, Breach. If you
هتفجر
played POE1,
الإنترنت.
you might be familiar with Breach. For POE2, we have created sequels to several POE1 leagues. While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses, rewards, and progression are all new. A breach is a tear in the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities that lie in wait on this other plane of existence. By engaging with a breach, you'll create a bridge
That was
between
so
their
good.
world and Rayclast. In order to keep the breach open, you will need to kill the demons that pour forth. The faster you can kill the monsters, the more monsters you will fight, and the more loot you will find. You can also find clasped hands that will open and drop more items if you run over them.
White
These
breach
can be
ring.
a good boost to the rewards of the breach, so keep an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers, get more breaches, getting more tablets. Soon your Atlas will be covered in otherworldly domains.
Wow.
In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even
That's
mods to
so
density
fun.
of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to rarely juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets. In your fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each endgame mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific mobs. You can also find Breach Rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life. Breach Rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes. In addition, each endgame mechanic needs to have a pinnacle endgame encounter. While killing Breach monsters, you may find Breach Splinters. Collect enough of these and you'll be able to create a Breach Stone. Using a Vaal technology called the Realm Gate, you can use your Breach Stone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach. Triggering it will reveal hordes of breach inhabitants.
It's deep. It's deep.
And should you be fast enough,
It's
you will be
deep
able
game
to
وما
fight
ينفعش
their lead,
تلعب
Zest.
secondary.
We that are one.
This is the early access. That's
wish early access.
This is just one of the pinnacle encounters of POE2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself. But rest assured, this is some of the hardest content we have ever made. All of these encounters have specific uniques that can only be found from them, but that's not all.
amazing.
We still
This
have
is
the
crazy.
progression system.
Crazy,
Defeating
crazy. خش في
D4
الريتشوال
will be
على
a
طول.
challenge indeed. In addition to the ones you sacrifice next to it. By the end of an area, you'll be fighting a truly imposing number of foes, but will have a significant amount of tribute to spend. One of the rewards you can buy with tribute are omens. These are special items that allow for meta crafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items. Have an item with good prefixes but bad suffixes? This omen will help you to remove the mod you don't want while keeping the ones you do. There are a bunch more of these with different effects, but we will leave them for you to discover.
Oh
now
my
don't
God.
forget that Ritual will also drop tablets which can be used to specialize into getting more rituals. If you want to get to the pinnacle boss of Ritual, then you will probably want to use them. They can also be crafted to grant mods, making your rituals more rewarding. The pinnacle encounter of Ritual is the King in the Mists. Feared by the Asmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the Wildwood. We won't show the encounter, but just like Breach, there are a range of unique items you can get for defeating him.
Is
And
it
you will
similar
gain
to the
points in the
PoE1
ritual
one?
section of
It
the
looks very
Atlas tree.
similar.
Some maps have been touched by
Oh, shit.
insanity. A mysterious entity has taken a special interest in you.
Bang Masu.
Step through the looking glass and you will find your nightmares coming to life. When you touch a mirror, the mists of Delirium will spread out across the area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is as profitable as it is terrifying. Everything you kill will increase the rewards that drop. However, the deeper
fuck
into
your
the mist
strength.
you travel, the stronger the monsters are. Be careful not to overstay your welcome. Rare and unique enemies will become vessels
auto
for
pick up?
terrifying demons, who will manifest out of them to unleash powerful attacks on you. The mist also offers a strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to instill your amulet with a notable from the passive skill tree. This is like gaining an extra passive point for free, attached to your gear. They are also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get them, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much harder to get. Distilled emotions can also be used to instill your endgame maps, applying Delirious to them and adding additional difficulty and rewards, allowing you to further juice your endgame maps. The tablets you can find from Delirium can be used to further improve it, increase pack size, make the fog dissipate slower, or improve your progress towards the pinnacle encounter of Delirium. Speaking of which, every now and then you will find simulacrum splinters. The mysterious entity will create strange encounters based on warped versions of your own memories. Monsters and simulacrums come in waves that get progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will have to make the decision to leave now or continue on, facing up against even tougher foes from the mist. The bosses you will face as you get deeper into a simulacrum are truly terrifying. If you can complete a simulacrum, you will gain points for the Delirium section of the Atlas skill tree. Next up, we have Expedition. Occasionally, while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers.
Nice.
The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium artifacts, and they want you to help dig them up
probably my least
with
favorite.
explosives.
Probably my
The
least favorite
Kalgurans have
mechanic.
marked the locations where the relics can be found. Place explosives as best you can to dig up as many as possible. There is just one problem. Corruption has brought the corpses of their ancestors to life, so you might have to do a little cleanup before you can reclaim the artifacts.
It's your favorite? That's good. Yeah, they must
You
be
can
old.
also find remnants, the destruction of which will further anger
Are they
the
immortal?
restless dead. Each one you blow up will make the subsequent monsters more powerful, but also more rewarding.
Rug crafting.
Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will
Oh,
exchange the artifacts for useful items and runic magic. You can
PS3
also
and
find
Coin.
tablets to increase the number of expeditions and the rewards. This one increases the radius of explosives, while this one increases the number of remnants you will find.
Wow.
Eventually, you might discover a logbook. These are special maps full of buried treasure and relics. Essentially, one giant dig site. Here, the trials we talked about
There's
earlier
more.
have much more content when you get to Endgame 2. Just like the other Endgame systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power that can only be gained from them. As you get higher level coins for the Trial of the Sycamores, you will unlock more floors to explore. Each floor has its own challenging rooms and a floor boss that you will need to kill. There are 4 floors in total, leading to another pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only be accessed at Endgame. The Trial of the Sycamores is where you'll find jewels, which you can socket into your tree.
I'm speechless,
These are
chat.
like passives that you can craft with your currency items. They can be really powerful as they allow you to stack modifiers that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning damage and shock chance, for example. There are quite a few jewel sockets on the tree, so it's possible to gain a lot
It's
of power
so
here.
good.
There are also other types of jewels that don't provide any bonuses themselves, but affect other passives surrounding them. This jewel increases the effect of small nodes and radius by 25%. With
Wow.
careful placement in the tree, you could get a significant amount of power from it. There are also unique jewels available with very interesting effects, but you'll have to
What?
find those for yourself.
I need to
In
pee.
order to push further into the trial and
think we take
uncover the
this one.
secrets
Holy
of the
shit, there's so
Marrakech,
much.
you will want to take advantage of its progression system, relics. Relics are items that can be placed in the relic altar as you start the trial. They give special bonuses that affect the trial, making it easier and increasing its rewards. Of course, you can craft these with your currency items, making them even stronger. If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of many unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example, this is the Last Flame. If you use it, you will have only 1 honor for the entire
got
trial,
quite a
so you
treasure
will
there,
need to do a
Rainier,
completely
Roderick.
hitless run.
Oh shit!
The Trial of Chaos also extends into the endgame. As
Looked
you
like he
gain
died
inscribed ultimatums of higher and higher levels, the number of chambers that you can go through increases. In true Val style, this allows you to take even more risks for even more rewards. At Endgame, you can progress through up to 10 chambers with 3 bosses on a single run. Stacking 10 tribulations on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's worth it. The Trial Master will tempt you with items of the Vaal Empire, such as Vaal Orbs. Vaal Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random, mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft. But it's also the most impactful one. For example, if you use one on your body armor, it might add a new powerful enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Vaal Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to bypass the normal restriction of how many sockets an item can have. A body armor could get up to 3 sockets this way, allowing for a significant number of mods.
I love that.
Vaal Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or sockets to uniques can make them incredibly powerful, but there is a good chance that you will break them as well. The Trial Master will also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Vaal sought to replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals and blood magic to power their civilization. Soul cores are powerful socketable items, with mods that cannot be obtained from regular runes. Like all endgame content, there is of course a pinnacle boss.
He said runes.
The final chamber will drop keys to this mysterious door.
He said runes.
Some say this is where the Trial Master himself resides. Perhaps you are willing to take the risk to find out. Had enough yet? Because there is still just one more thing. The most difficult content in Path of Exile 2.
He meant to say orbs, right?
While mapping, you might come across this fortress
So
that has
deep,
emerged
man.
from
Read it.
underground, surrounded by an enormous maze riddled with danger.
So it is runes.
Is the maze
Rune words,
preventing
maybe.
something from getting in, or something getting out? This fortress is of ancient origin, and its construction has similarities to the towers and tablets that you have been using on your journey through the endgame.
fuck?
It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber-Act boss. You can see one of them inhabiting the city,
I'm being
but in
yoked
order
so
to
hard.
fight him, you will first need to defeat their 2 lieutenants in the adjacent zones. Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will gain access to the fortress. We aren't going to spoil it as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get
Definitely
points
playing
in after
software.
killing it? Of course there is. This is Path of Exile. There is always another tree.
So these are your challenges for POE2. As you can see, this project is crazy huge. Way bigger than even we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access? Well, during early access you'll need a key to get in. To thank our existing POE supporters who have spent more than $480 US,
told you,
we'll be
40,
giving you guys a
40.
key for the PC version for free. Anyone else who wants one can get one by purchasing one of the new early access supporter packs that have just been released to the store. If you just want early access to POE2, then you can get a key in the $30 US early
300
access
points.
pack. The pack also comes with $30 of points to spend in the MTX store. But we
And by
also
stash
have a
tabs with
variety of other supporter packs filled with exclusive microtransactions, points to spend in the store, and even physical items. The cosmetics can be used right now in POE 1 and in Path of Exile 2 when
Liberator
early
of
access
Rayclass.
starts. Most of this footage has been recorded in Path of Exile 1, since that's where you can use them immediately.
Oh shit.
The Lord of Ogham supporter pack contains a cosmetic armor set befitting of the Count of Ogham
Oh, they're
himself.
up already.
There is also a matching back attachment, which has an alternate variant to
على
weaken
خيرة
the
الله
influence of
خلاص كده
corruption.
جبناها.
Also in this pack, you can find a portal formed of the rusted armor
ايرلي
of
اكسس
fallen
طبعا
soldiers
مفيش
in the
كلام.
Red Veil of Ogham,
ايرلي
and the
ايرلي
offspring of a vicious
اكسس.
crowbar boss found in the hunting grounds. This one doesn't look so vicious though. On top of that, you'll
That
receive
is
the
so
Iron
cool.
Count's Zweihander to apply to your one-handed or two-handed swords. For those who are wanting to decorate your hideouts with fond memories and tales of Path of Exile's history, you will also get a series of hideout statues. This pack contains the statue of Hillock. For Path of Exile 1's closed beta, each pack contained a true New Zealand icon, the Kiwi.
Cute.
Following this tradition, all packs in this series will also contain a new themed Kiwi pet. The pet will loyally follow you into battle, but run away at the first sign of trouble.
That's
Become the
similar to
ruler
one
of the
first
desert with the
POE1
king of the
packs, by the way.
Farron supporter
It's a
pack.
very nice reference.
Show your mastery of traversing the sands of the Vasteri Plains. The body armor will allow you to glide along the ground with ancient sand magic. Now each armor set comes with body armor, boots, gloves,
Yeah,
and
literally just
helmet.
said that. Oh, I was
But the
paying
boots are
attention.
covered in sand.
I'm
If you'd prefer
zoning
to show
out. It's
them
so much
off,
stuff.
you can turn the gliding off if you want. The accompanying back attachment equips you with two powerful pillars that can control and manipulate lightning. They will periodically release their energy in a powerful blast while in town, and hover in a circle around you, arcing lightning between them, forming a barrier of energy. Replace the appearance of any bow with the Faradin's Glory skin,
Whoa.
or replace the appearance of a spear with the Tyranny's End spear skin. This spear skin can be applied to staves and war staves in Path of Exile
Very
1.
cool.
If you want to truly show your worth as a king of the Faradin, then you definitely need your trusty moving entire city fortress known as the Dreadnought to travel across the Vasteri plains. In Path of Exile you can decorate your hideout however you like, and it's no exception here. It comes with a variety of thematic elements to use, or use decorations from elsewhere in the game.
Wow.
Additionally, you will get the Deshret's Blessing level up effect. The King of the Faradin Kiwi pet. And last but not least, a statue depicting the Vile Oversoul from Path of Exile 1.
Wow.
For those who don't know how supporter packs work, each pack comes with all of the cosmetics from the previous tier, so you'll get all the items from the Lord of Ogham supporter pack as well.
طب الكونسول طيب.
The Thaumaturge of the Vile supporter pack features an armor
الكونسول.
set and back attachment themed around the Vile and their pursuit of
أنا
science
مش عايز
and
مش
progress.
عارف.
You can find the Soul Core weapon effect in this pack, which causes thaumaturgic energy harnessed from sacrifice to spill from your weapon. This pack also contains Doryani's Idol. It replaces the default appearance of any foci to an ancient relic once used by Doryani, and this can be applied to shields in Path of Exile 1. That's not the only Vile weapon you'll find. It also contains the Wand of the
The
Thaumaturge
weapon's
skin
cool.
and the Royal Sacrifice Dagger skin. You wouldn't think to put sacrificial gems on a Kiwi, but the Vile did. Thaumaturge of the Vile supporters will receive the Thaumaturge of the Vile Kiwi pet. And the Statue of Dominus. This is also the first pack in the series with a physical item. When purchasing this pack, you'll receive a Path of Exile 2 logo t-shirt. But if you don't want one, you can opt out and return for additional points to spend in the store. Becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter will grant you an armor set and back attachment, adorned in jade carvings and
Cool
iridescent
weapon.
feathers resembling power. Enough to even impress the ancestral gods,
is
specifically
crazy.
Tugohama, the Karui god of war.
I can't believe we got this much. Oh, that is
Overkill,
cool.
you say? I think the Karui people would disagree. Why not drop a gigantic totem on rare enemies you slay to crush them to a pulp? Replace your crafting bench in your hideout with the Ancestral Canoe crafting bench, where Ancestral Chief Marta will summon a giant
Wait,
canoe manned by
There's no
Karui
crafting bench in
warriors
POE2, right?
to
That's just
aid
the
in your
POE1
crafting
crafting
desires.
bench? Yeah, just the one POE. Just the POE1 crafting bench.
Tales past, present,
That
and of
looks
the
like the
future.
statue I have.
This is enough. This is enough, man. Wow. Wow. مش لعبة هينة ومش هتنفع تبقى لعبة بتلعب ساعة ساعتين في اليوم. This is crazy, man. لو ما لعبتش ARPGs تبقى دي بداية جيدة جدا. وللأسف مش هتقدر ترجع تلعب القديم بعد الاكسبيرينس زي دي. It's not happening. لو نفسك تلعب تجرب ديابلو جربها دلوقتي. دي خلاص لعبة العصر.